Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Representative Hillary Hawley.
Well, good morning, Polk County. I hope you all are excited as I am to welcome the congressman to Polk County, Imperial Polk County, right? That's right, that's right. Well, I am honored to be here. I'm State Representative Hillary Hawley. I just won in a special election back in March. Yes, that's right. And so I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see a great group of Polk County people in this room today to welcome the congressman. But first, I'd like to welcome Pastor Scott Thomas to the stage to deliver the invocation.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, you are the source of all that's good and true in our lives. So it is only wise for us to invite and invoke your presence into this day. Your word says that the people rejoice when the righteous lead. Today we need clarity in a culture that runs on confusion. Strip the noise out of this election and burn off the political spin, because our state does not need a celebrity in Tallahassee, we need a leader. In a culture that's consumed with image, I thank you for Congressman Donalds, a man of character and conviction who stands here to fulfill your call on his life. Allow the backbone of your word to continue leading and covering and guiding and inspiring and strengthening his heart, his voice, his family, and his team. Give him your answers and your strategies for our state, and ones that have your fingerprints all over it, that you would guide and favor him in every step that he takes. And God, we pray that your open hand of blessing will cover the state of Florida, not with comfort, but with wisdom and hope that can only come from you. Bless this gathering, all that are here today. Bless our homes, bless our city, bless our leaders that are here, bless our U.S. military around the world, we pray. And yes, we pray, God bless America. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Amen. At this time, we will be having the pledge.
Please welcome to the stage Representative John Albert.
Good morning. It's my privilege to introduce a proven conservative leader who has spent years fighting for Florida and the values that have made our state strong. So this guy, I'm new to this kind. I've only been doing it for 2 years. And I go in the Capitol. So imagine a guy from Frostproof, and you pass the Commissioner of Agriculture's office. I mean, it's like, what in the world is going on? So Wilton Simpson is a farmer, a businessman, former president of the Florida Senate, and now the Commissioner of Agriculture. Throughout his career, he has fought for Florida families and farmers and ranchers and hardworking people who keep our state moving forward. And today he's here because he knows how important it is that we keep strong conservative leadership in the governor's office and elect Byron Donalds as Florida's next governor. Please join me in giving a big welcome to Florida's Ag Commissioner, Wilton Simpson.
Good morning. You know, it's always good to be back in the city that you were born in. 1966 in Lakeland, Florida. It was probably the only place with a hospital back then. I can say that now. Well, thank y'all for being here today. We've got a very important election that we're about to have. And when we think about the consequence, I love to compare the consequence, of liberal leadership versus conservative leadership, and why we're conservatives and why we need to get out and vote and make sure that we win these elections. First of all, when you think about the Florida budget, This year, the state of Florida's budget was $116 billion. The state that's closest to us in size is New York, clearly a blue state. We're a red state. Their budget this year is $270 billion. They extract well over 2 times the amount of taxes from their population as we do ours. That's one thing that makes us conservatives. Number 2, the state of Florida, at the height of the Great Recession, 2010, had about $25 billion of debt. In 2018, we had about $17 billion of debt, and today we have $8 billion of debt. That's what conservative leadership does. The state of New York, with 4 million less people, has $180 billion of debt. $180 billion. Now think about, and theirs is going up every year. Think about that for a second. And when I was your Senate president after COVID, we left, there was $22 billion in reserves on our balance sheet. The state of Florida has the most pristine balance sheet anywhere in the country, and you'd wonder why people want to come here. We are the lowest tax state in the entire union per capita, and we are the lowest debt state per capita in the entire union. The next administration, if you have a conservative administration, and you will pay the debt off of the state of Florida. We'll have no debt. The other thing I like to, yes. The other thing I like to quote is the great philosopher Ricky Bobby, right? What he said, if you're not first, you are last. What are we first? And we're first in a lot of things in the state of Florida. We are the first in the largest state to have universal school choice. We put parents in charge of the children's education. For 10 years in a row now, by World News Report, we have the #1 universities and colleges anywhere in the country. We have the lowest tuition and the best outcomes, by the way. That's amazing. We're the #1 business formation. We have the #1 law enforcement in this country. Yeah. And I know the sheriff couldn't be here this morning. He wanted to be, he had another commitment, and you've got a great sheriff here in Polk County, right? You'll remember during COVID, you had all of those peaceful protests where all the buildings were burning down. Yeah, not in the state of Florida. We are about law enforcement here in the state of Florida. During that time, to prove that we were the law enforcement state, we did $5,000 bonuses for law enforcement that would move from any other state to Florida or start a law enforcement career here in the state of Florida. Governor DeSantis, about 6 months ago, gave out the 10,000th $5,000 bonus just in the last 5 years. Hey, and by the way, the #1 producer of business, do we know who the #1 producer of business in the state of Florida is now? Zohran Mamdani of New York. That's liberal leadership for you. He's sending all their businesses to Florida, and we welcome those businesses, right? We want good jobs for our citizens, and we're very proud of that. And think about consequence of elections, and that's what we're really here to talk about today, is the consequence of elections. 8 years ago, there's about 30,000 votes that separated us from Governor Ron DeSantis, which has done an amazing job for the last 8 years, versus Gillum. You remember Andrew Gillum? Think about the differences in the 2 states you would live in today had that vote went the other way. Gillum, I believe, is in jail in Alabama today, right? And we were 30,000 votes. What a mistake for the and all of the things that we prioritize. Now think about a few things about the state of Florida. I'm going to mention just a few things and get this out of the way. But think about in the state of Florida, you hear a lot of noise about boys playing in girls' sports. I ran for the Florida Senate in 2012 as my first office. You never would have thought that you had to defend our young ladies from boys wanting to play in their sports. And some people in this country think that's okay. In New York, that's okay. In Florida, we banned that while I was in the Senate. During the COVID era, you remember we were the free state of Florida. We are the free state of Florida. Bureaucrats wanted to mask your children in schools. We had to pass a state law so they said they couldn't do those things. We had to pass a law a few years ago to say that local governments can't medicate you. They can't put fluoride or anything else in your water to medicate you. Look at the difference in those liberal states and what they do with their programs. And in Florida, we have the right to raise our family. We have the right to worship. We have the right to go to the church of our choice. We have all those freedoms in the state of Florida. And you would ask, well, why does everybody want to come to Florida? There's the formula, the free state of Florida. Well, thank you all for having me here this morning. This election, by the way, I'll remind everybody, in 1996, when Republicans took over, I believe they took over the Senate that year for the first time, there were about 500,000 more registered Democrats than there were Republicans in the state of Florida at that time. But Republicans and grassroots outworked them, and we took over the Senate, and then a few years later, the House, and then the governors. We've had conservative governors the last 30 years initially, essentially. And the Democrats took it for granted then. They took it for granted, and that's how we outworked them and we beat them. And we beat them on ideas and philosophy. What we can't allow to have happen, and for the first time in the history of this state, I believe it was 2020, when finally we had more Republicans registered in the state of Florida than there were Democrats. Today, we have 1.5 million more registered Republicans than we do Democrats in this state. When this primary is over Tuesday night, we are going to have to unite behind a candidate of our choosing, and my choosing is Byron Donalds. And yes, because Byron Donalds will carry forth the free state of Florida in which we become accustomed. Lowest debt, lowest tax, most freedoms, and make sure that we support our law enforcement. And that is the man that we need in this office to do that job. And at this time, I'm going to introduce now a local hero to this community. And by the way, I was honored to be able to serve in the Florida Senate, and from a little town called Trilby. Everybody knows where Trilby is, right beside La Cucci, and which is true. I was in the egg business there all of my life, and great little town. The notion that you could be from Trilby and be in the Senate was really kind of crazy, and then the idea you could be Senate President was even probably more crazy. Anyways, it was a real honor to serve you in that position. You have a young lady today that resides here that is going to be a future Speaker of the House. This is a person that you have elected, that her peers have elected to help run the state of Florida. And we're very proud that she's our friend. She's a conservative and does an amazing job for you in Tallahassee. And how do you know she does an amazing job? It's because when you're not paying attention, she's still doing an amazing job, not only for the state of Florida, but she remembers where her roots are, and they're right here in Polk County. So at this time, I'd like to bring Jennifer Kennedy up to introduce her.
Well, what a joy to be with you this morning, to look out and see so many friends from, goodness, my whole life. This is my home. This is where I was born. A little later than Commissioner Simpson, not a whole lot. This is the place where my family has called home my entire life. It is my joy. It is my great privilege to represent Lakeland in the Florida House and to have the opportunity, Lord willing, and we work hard and we turn out to serve with the next governor of Florida, Byron Donalds. Now, I have had the privilege of knowing some really extraordinary leaders in my time. I call Jeb Bush a great friend. When you think about 30 years ago and you think about the leadership that we have had in the governor's mansion in Florida, you think about Rick Scott and what he has done for us. You think about our current governor and what an extraordinary leader he has been for us. Think about COVID and what a different place this would have been if we had had Andrew Gillum in the governor's mansion. Can you even imagine what that would have been like? And instead, we had the leadership of Ron DeSantis, and it was a time that we desperately needed that. He was the man for that time. And so it has been just really exciting very encouraging to get to know our next governor, Byron Donalds. And I'm so happy that he's here today because this is a man that you have to experience in person. You have to look him in the eye, and a lot of you are here because I sent you texts and said, you gotta come meet him, you've gotta look him in the eye. He is a man who, once you hear from him in person, you will hear his heart, and you will know that we are in such good hands with Byron Donalds. And so it is my tremendous privilege to introduce today to you, Congressman Byron Donalds.
How's everybody doing? Are you guys excited? Who here has voted? We got a lot of people here who are going to the polls on Tuesday, right? Listen, let me first explain a couple things about where we are today. We are 4 days away from Republicans choosing the next nominee to be governor of the great state of Florida. 4 days. But we're a little bit more than 80 days from making sure that we keep Florida free and we keep Florida red. As I've been traveling the state, as I've been traveling around Florida, let me just tell you one thing. The signs are for real. It's not just about defending the Florida dream. It's about a realization that what makes us different from every other state in the country is that we are the example when it comes to limited government and free people and constitutionalism and common sense. All of that's here in Florida. It's the reason why we have people who have stayed with our state through generation after generation after generation. My wife is a 6th generation Floridian. My kids are the 7th generation. I've just lived here for 30 years. But I came here really just to go to college and get educated. And then being in this state, I realized, man, this place is awesome. You just get to have your own space, and very different than New York City, Wilton, I'll tell you, very, very different. You get to have your own space, have great air, go to the beach, although when I went to college in Tallahassee, Florida, I'm a Seminole. We always have this battle on the campaign trail, depending on where you are in the state. But when I went to Florida State, this before Google Maps, the young kids all know you can go on your phone and basically do point-by-point direction. I'm 47 years old. You had to pull out an atlas. You had to actually pull out the map and look at it. And so when I picked the college, I'm thinking, well, it's Florida. There's beaches everywhere. And then I got to Tallahassee. No beaches. But even those formative years in Tallahassee when I was young, when you're trying to figure out life and mistakes were made, when you realize you have to look yourself in the mirror and become a man, and you graduate from college, and I was fortunate enough to meet a young lady who ended up becoming my wife. And through those early days, those early years, we struggled. I look at young people today and I know they're concerned about what it's going to mean to buy a house or to build a career or to have a family. And it actually has caused me to go back to those early years, 22, 23, 24, when I was trying to figure out life. My wife and I, we were reminiscing a little bit. Our first apartment was a 1,200 square foot, 2nd story condo in Naples. It was our first apartment. And if anybody remembers back then, I don't even know if they still have those around here, but if they remember back in the day, a lot of Florida windows, they weren't impact glass. They were the roll ones, the Gelosi ones, and they would all pan out like that, and that's how you got air in your condo. We had to finance the security deposit in our monthly rent because we didn't have enough money for a security deposit. My wife got her degree in accounting. I got my degree in finance. But when we were starting out, it was right after 9/11. The 9/11 recession had started. And the people who were graduating college the year before 9/11 were getting $10,000 signing bonuses to sign up with a company. $10,000 back in like 2000. That was real money. And all those bonuses went away when 9/11 happened. They all went away. And so we just had to find a way to get started. The affordability issues that every Floridian is dealing with today, we know about it. We've done it. We've been through that. My wife and I are blessed. We've been able to build that Florida dream for ourselves. And so the mission as Florida's next governor is to make sure that the people of our state can continue to build their dreams. The people who have chosen to retire to Florida for their golden years, we want them to continue to be able to enjoy our state, live in our state, and frankly, look back on their lives and say, you know what? I might have been working in Michigan or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania or New Jersey, but I have finally made it to the great state of Florida. And we want our seniors to be able to continue to do that. That's why John Albert is in the State House right now fighting for you every single day. John, come here for a second. Come here, John. Come on up here. You see, in 4 days, you're going to make sure this man is your nominee in the State House. You're not excited about that, John? But he's in Tallahassee and he's fighting for you. Why? Because the things that we talk about when the lights aren't on are the same things that we're talking about right now. What are we doing around insurance? How can we make your lives easier and better? And that's what he's fighting for every single day. So I look forward to you winning on Tuesday night as well. Because we got a lot more work to do. I talk so much about this dream because it's important for us to really think about why these elections are important. I know what everybody's dealing with insurance. I'm going to share something personal. I don't really talk about this much. My wife and I, we got canceled by 3 different insurance companies over the last 2 years. We're going through it too. We want to make sure that there are insurance companies in this state who, yeah, you're going to pay premiums, but they're going to be with you through the storm. And they're going to be with you after the storm. That's what we want to see in our state. We're also going to reform the regulatory side of our insurance markets. And by the way, I spent 17 years of my career in finance, in banking, in financial services before politics. That was my career. That's what I did for a living. When I was in the Florida House, I chaired the Insurance and Banking Subcommittee. So I'm not waiting for somebody to tell me what needs to be done. We are going to reform the stuff that Florida can control. And when you put that together with the tort reform that my friends in the legislature and Commissioner Simpson and Governor DeSantis were able to get done a couple of years ago, that's how we push costs down in our state for our people, 20 to 25%. And we can get that done. And we're going to do that here in Florida. Because I know when you own a home, nobody plans on taxes and insurance being more than principal and interest. Nobody plans for that one. And so we're going to be about the business of making sure that your insurance costs are down. We're going to make sure we're engaging these reinsurance companies that actually rate the risk of Florida. And we're going to help them understand that when you look at our building code, when you look at our floodplain management in our state, when you look at the fact of the other thing we're going to do, we're going to reform permitting and planning in the state of Florida, making it easier to get building permits so the cost of construction comes down. When you look at all those things, that directly impacts the cost of insurance. We're going to get to the business of all this. People say, well, Byron, where are you coming up with all this stuff? Guys, I was a credit analyst in a bank. That was my first job. I underwrote contractors. I underwrote developers. When somebody wanted to build a new community, I was the guy analyzing the community to make sure that the deal worked before we lent money to it. So it's taking that knowledge, knowing that in the private sector, and applying it to the real world pocketbook issues that every Floridian is facing today. Because we want the Florida dream to be alive and well for everybody. for everybody in our state. Property taxes, that's in your hands now. The people of Florida will decide. The one thing we are going to make sure of is that our sheriffs, including your sheriff right here in Polk County, and his deputies are going to get paid because they keep us safe. The reason why we are the most exceptional state in all of America is because we back the men and women in blue. We back them. They will always have our support, because if you don't have law and order, you can't build businesses. You can't have safe communities. You can't have a healthy society where we just respect one another and live next to one another. So our law enforcement agents, and they're in this room, they're around here, you guys will always have my support, Commissioner Simpson, Speaker Kennedy, and everybody else in the Florida legislature. We will always have your back. You can take that one to the bank. But the people of Florida will decide what happens on Amendment 3. I'm here to tell you, whether it passes or whether it fails, we are going to continue to find ways to lower property taxes in this state. Because like I just said, taxes and insurance were never meant to be more than principal and interest. And we need to make sure that we address the pocketbook issues of the people of Florida. When we talk about storms coming through, everybody's been through it in this state. Listen, there's a new, we're going to create a new standard for being a Floridian. You ready for this one, Wilton? If you've been through 2 hurricanes in our state, you're one of us. You've been through 2 storms, you're one of us. Listen, we all know what it is. What we want to do is very simple. If you're just rebuilding your home, your permits are automatic. Why are you waiting for a permit from government to just do repairs on the home that government already permitted you to build? Again, common sense. You're just rebuilding what you already have. So as long as you're doing that, we want to make sure your permits are automatic, so you can get through the claims process and get a deal done with the contractor, get that work started. Because the quicker you're back in your home, the cheaper it is for you, the cheaper it is for your insurance company, and the cheaper it is for everybody. So we want to just bring common sense solutions to fixing costs and getting affordability issues under control in Florida. That's what we want to do. Let's talk health insurance. Let's talk health care. The Affordable Care Act sucks. It's awful. Premiums are rising on Americans because of terrible health care policy out of Washington, D.C. Deductibles are rising on Americans because of terrible health care policy out of Washington, D.C. And I'm just going to be very direct. The Democrats are more concerned with keeping the signature item of President Obama than doing what is right to respect the pocketbooks and drive down health care costs in this country. They're more concerned with politics than your bottom line. In Florida, we are going to lead on price transparency. We are going to make sure that every hospital and every doctor's office posts the real cash price for the top 20 services that they provide. Because you should know what it costs before you walk in the door. You should know what the cost is. And today it's real easy because everybody has their cell phones, right? Today in America, if we decided to take this rally and go another 2 to 3 hours and people needed to bring, I might just go 2 to 3 hours. Is everybody okay? I'm playing. But if we decided to go long and everybody was looking for lunch, we don't have to go have a catering contract. Everybody can get on their phone, go to Uber Eats, or go to DoorDash. You've all done it, and you go through and you're like, man, I'm hungry, I need something. And you can go to any restaurant in the area and you can see the price that they would charge you and the delivery fee to bring that right here. If you can do that for food, why can't we do that for healthcare costs? We do that for food, but you can't do it for healthcare. In Florida, we're going to lead on transparency because when we know what it costs, a funny thing happens in the market. Prices stabilize. And we have to have stable costs for the people of Florida in order for them to afford Florida. And that's how you keep the Florida dream alive and well. I'm glad Commissioner Simpson's here with us today because it's also about our ag lands. Florida feeds half of the United States when it gets cold. We feed ourselves. How do you think the shelves on Publix are full all the time? That's coming right off of our farms, whether it's eggs, strawberries, blueberries, lettuce, and most people don't know, beef, because we still have cattle farms here in Florida. Ag is critical to the future of our state, and we're going to protect our agriculture lands. They are critical to Florida. We've already remembered those times during COVID-19 when we were too reliant on China and other countries to get the basic supplies that we need. So food security is national security, and it's Florida's security, and we're going to protect those ag lands. When it comes to conservation, we're going to protect our conservation areas because Florida's beauty is just as important as Florida's economy. Yes, our panthers need places to roam. Our black bears need places to thrive as well. So we're going to protect our conservation areas, but we are going to balance that with the growth that is coming to Florida. I know people are concerned about growth. Look, I've been in 63 counties in our state. People are concerned about it. They're like, Byron, they just keep coming. They do. And I say the reason they keep coming is because we're the best state in America. Because everybody has seen the results now. And we have to thank Governor DeSantis for his leadership in governing Florida these last 8 years. But they want to be a part of Florida for obvious reasons, because we do smart things. We're not like New York and California and Connecticut and Michigan and Massachusetts and Oregon and Washington State. It's a shame I have to rattle off so many states that are just stupid. It's a shame that we have so many states that just do dumb things. And they haven't realized the simple fact that people will move with their feet. And they come to a place that makes sense, that allows them to build a great quality of life. And they're choosing Florida. So we're going to have to plan and manage the future growth of our state. We're going to have to look at each region and say, what is this going to look like over the next 10 years, the next 20 years, the next 30 years? How do we have the roads that we need, the sheriff substations that are required to keep us safe? What are we going to do about power? Because we are going to have to figure out how we're going to generate cheap power for the future of our state. And with that, fresh water for the future of our state. We have to have a plan for all of these things. And while I'm on the subject of power and water, let's just get this out in the open. Data centers. Let's talk about it. In Florida, it is the law today that your utility bills will not go up because of a hyperscale data center. That is the law in our state, passed by the legislature, signed by Governor DeSantis. As your next governor, that law will not change. The people of Florida are not going to pay for a data center, not in your pocketbooks. When it comes to water, they have to get a consumptive use permit from water management. That is now state law. We are going to protect the aquifers and protect the fresh drinking water of the people of Florida. The third thing is proximity. Listen, I don't want it next to my house. You don't want it next to your house. We are going to make sure that if they are built, they are not near residential neighborhoods. Because let's just be very clear, nobody wants to see it. We're not going to do what was done in Virginia, where they were built right next to people's houses. We're not going to do that in Florida. We are going to keep them away. We're going to protect our agricultural lands as well, like I said earlier. But let's be very honest. There are ways to mitigate this stuff, because the other side of the coin is computing power. Everybody's got one. That young man's recording right now. I see you. How am I looking in your phone? Am I looking all right? Everybody's got one. If you use the Amazon Marketplace, you're using AI. If you stream off Netflix or Paramount Plus, you're using AI. And by the way, the UFC fights are on Paramount Plus. If you're a UFC guy, I like the UFC. I like it. He's so to see that young man's like, yes, UFC. Does anybody remember when they came out with cloud computing? Remember the commercials? They're like, you don't have to store that on your computer anymore. It's all in the cloud. The cloud is so beautiful. The cloud is a data center. It always was a data center. And so when we talk about healthcare and driving costs down, right now, under the leadership of President Trump and our Vice President J.D. Vance, we are rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse all across this country. And every taxpayer is happy that we're finally catching the fraud. At the federal level, we are told every single year that about $250 billion of waste is called unallocated payments. That's how GAO refers to it. We're talking more than $3 trillion over the last 20 years just wasted. Do you know how we're finding the Leering centers in Minnesota? They're using AI. That's how we're finding it. That's how we make sure that the tax dollars that you trust government with, that you work so hard to earn and you pay when you pay your taxes, the way we actually make sure that money is spent appropriately is, yes, using AI. That's the truth. So we're going to have to figure out computing power. There's a way that we protect our citizens, protect their utility bills, protect our water, and protect your homes while also having the computing power that businesses and governments, and quite frankly, for anybody who uses ChatGPT, is going to need into the future. And we can do that work. And in Florida, once again, we will lead in protecting our people while making sure we're preparing for our future. When it comes to the economy, good news, we're now the 14th largest economy in the world, right here in Florida. Right here in Florida. We are on our way to being the 10th largest economy in the world, right here in Florida. A year and a half ago, I said that Florida was quickly going to become the financial hub, if not the world, definitely in the Western Hemisphere. And some people at the time were like, what is he talking about? But I knew something you didn't know. I knew that Zorhan Mamdani was crazy. And the truth is, you've had captains of industry have said to themselves, I've had enough and I want out. And now they're going to Miami and Palm Beach, and they're bringing their financial companies with them. It used to be 10 years ago, if you were a startup company, you didn't come to Florida to raise capital. You came to Florida on vacation before you went home. But today, if you're raising capital for a new venture, they are coming to Florida. They're not going to Chicago. They're not going to New York. They're not going to California. They come here. Has anybody ever been to Kennedy Space Center? You all been? Cool museum, right? A marvel to the space race in the 60s. Florida put men on the moon. The guys in Texas swear it was them. Mission Control was in Texas. There's a Houston, you got a problem. Mission Control was in Texas, that's true. But the launch came out of Florida. That's where it came from. Today, we have the most active spaceports in the Western Hemisphere, is here in Florida. Over the next several years, we're going to be doing 1,000 space launches out of Cape Canaveral here in Florida. And it's not just the launches anymore. It is manufacturing and engineering and science jobs here in Florida. It's welders and machinists and electricians here in Florida. That's going to be a part of the future of our economy, along with agriculture. And tourism, y'all already know. Tourism isn't going anywhere. Governor DeSantis unveiled the other day advanced air mobility vehicles being tested here in Florida. For the young kids will never know this. For the adults, you know. No, I'm sorry. I can't say adults anymore. If you're under the age of 30, you have no idea what I'm about to say next. If you're over the age of 30, you know. Or maybe 35, actually. Everybody remember the Jetsons? That's being tested here in Florida. We started as an agriculture state. We became a retirement state. Today, we are an everything state. So when I say we're quickly going to become the 10th largest economy in the world, that's not hyperbole. That's what's happening right now in our state all around us. With that future economic growth is going to be more job opportunities, more ways to be able to afford Florida. While we control costs in Tallahassee, we expand the economy for people who just want to work hard, innovate, use their skills, use their talent, and build something tremendous for them and for their families. That is the Florida dream that I am going to protect as your next governor. And when it comes to our kids and Speaker Kennedy, can I call you Speaker Kennedy now? Is Sam going to get mad at me by doing that? I don't want to get on Sam's bad side. Speaker D. Kennedy, I'll be respectful. I was a member of the Florida House. She spent her life educating our kids. That's been her life's passion before going into the House. We want our kids to be prepared to become the leaders and the entrepreneurs for the future of our state. Us staying number one as a state, Florida remaining the best in the country, is not about a governor. It's not about elected officials. It is about our young kids being prepared to take the mantle and the reins of leadership. This is why our mission when it comes to K-12 education is not just to be the best in America, it's to be the best in the world. We want our kids to master math, reading, and writing by the time they graduate high school. We want our kids who are not going to college, and I'm going to talk about the ones who aren't going to go. We want them to be able to connect with a company and get an internship and an apprenticeship before they graduate high school, so that when they graduate and mom and dad is cheering them on, and we've all been a part of those graduations. I've now graduated 2 of my sons through high school. Actually, my oldest son has a job. Wilton's like, I know what that means. He has a job. Like, he's getting his own apartment. This is great. I'm very happy as a father. But listen. We want our kids that when they graduate high school, we want them to be able to hit the ground running. We want them, especially our young men, we want our young men to grow up to be men. We want them to be able to provide for this girl that they're dating. And then when they get married, we want them to have children. And we want them to continue Western civilization as we know it, because that's how we keep the Florida dream alive and well in this state. That's how we do it. Oh, her shirt says, "Make families great again." Come on up here and show everybody your shirt. I want everybody to see this shirt. Come on up here. I don't even know who you are, but I like your t-shirt. No, you stand right there. Ladies and gentlemen, in Florida, you were a model back in the day. You got your strut on and everything. She's like, I was, yes. But in Florida, we're going to make families great again. That's what we're going to do in Florida. So this is what's on the agenda in 4 days. In 4 days, it's in your hands to choose the next Republican nominee for governor. Thank you. But in a little more than 80 days, Florida has to do what it's done for the last 26 years. There is a choice in November. The Democrats are going to run a guy named David Jolly. David Jolly is somebody who all of a sudden in his mid-50s decided that he was a Democrat. I have no idea how that happens in your mid-50s, but okay. This is a guy who was a career staffer on Capitol Hill to Bill Young, a former member of the Republican delegation in Florida who passed away in office. And he was given the opportunity to replace Bill Young, and he won that seat as a Republican. And then he lost it to Charlie Crist. This is a guy who, after he lost, he left the Republican Party. When Ron DeSantis opened up Florida and kept us free from the COVID tyranny of Dr. Fauci, David Jolly said that Dr. Fauci had unimpeachable judgment. Have you ever heard something so stupid in your life? But that's what he said. When Florida was opening up, David Jolly left and went to Pennsylvania. And he criticized the way Governor DeSantis and Commissioner Simpson and so many in the legislature were saying, no, Florida's going to be open. We're not going to lock our people down. He left. And now he wants to come back and lead our state? I'm sorry. But if you don't have enough judgment to see that Florida was right and Fauci was wrong, then you don't have the judgment to be the next governor of Florida. David Jolly still thinks it's okay for boys to be in girls' sports. Only he and the WNBA think this is okay. Everybody else is saying that is the dumbest position I have ever heard, because we want to protect our women and our young girls. We want to make sure that they can be the very best that they can be. We don't want to hold them back from their talent and their ability. But nothing is going to hold back a young girl athletically than having to compete against a boy. So in Florida, we are going to continue to protect our young girls. And the choice for the people of Florida is, do you want a governor who's going to let boys beat girls in their own sports, or do you want a governor who's going to protect the young girls of this state? He also says it's okay for minors to have transgender surgeries. Pure insanity. Pure insanity. The decision is clear. We need a governor who's not going to bend a knee to the Democrat Socialists of America. We need a governor who is not a Trojan horse for the Democrat Socialists of America. Florida needs a governor who's going to stand on common sense and follow the science, the real science, not the crazies on the left, and a governor that's going to keep Florida free. Polk County, are you with me? Because in 80 days, in a little more than 80 days, we are going to do the same thing that we did for then Congressman DeSantis. We are going to do the same thing we did for then businessman Rick Scott. We are going to tell the Democrats once again that they can do that crazy in California, they can keep the idiocy in Chicago, and they can have Mondani in New York, but they will not have a foothold here in the great state of Florida. God bless you, Polk County. God bless you. God bless Florida. And God bless America. Thank you.
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now. It's the franchise where I'm shining now. You can't see me, my time is now. In case you forgot or fell off, I'm still hot, knock your shell off. My money stacked fat, plus I can't turn the swell off. The franchise doing big business, I live this, it's automatic. I win this, so you hear those horns, you finish. A soldier, and I stay under you fighting. Plus I'm storming on you chumps like I'm thunder and lightning. Ain't no way you breaking me, kid, I'm harder than nails. Plus I keep it on lock like I'm part of the jail. I'm slaughtering stale competition. I got the whole block wishing they could run with my division, but they gone fishing with no bait. Kid, your boy hold weight. I got my soul straight. I brush your mouth like Colgate. In any weather, I'm never better. Your boy's so hot, you never